The Disrupt Education vlog can be found on YouTube. To hear it in podcast form, search Disrupt Education on any of the following podcast platforms: Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Castbox, Overcast, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Spotify, or Stitcher. Welcome to this episode of Disrupt Education. Today I have a very special guest, the Hawaii Teacher of the Year, Matthew Williams. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh. Yes, it's great. Tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're at, and what you're doing these days.
Yeah, my name is, like you're saying, Matthew Williams. I teach at Kealakekea Intermediate School on the Big Island in Kona, also known as Hawaii Island. I've been teaching here for going on 7 years now. So I teach middle school students. About that, adolescent age, those middle level years, I teach digital media. So that's kind of my primary content. Prior to that, I was a special education teacher. So I did 6, 7, 8 inclusion. And that was like really, those 3 years were really pivotal for me, just learning from some of the best within the classroom, especially being a brand new educator and just understanding the needs of students and just seeing the whole picture as far as who's involved in their education, whether it be obviously educators, the students themselves, and then ultimately sometimes the forgotten piece, parents. So did that and then moved into digital media. I was asked to do those kinds of things. So my students have been really involved, really tapping into our community resources. I'm a big advocate for students having authentic audiences and applying their work, building their portfolio at this young age, and just continue to develop their brand. Outside of that, I love deep sea fishing. That's a big part of what I love to do, so got that here in Kona. I'm also now transitioning out, but an alumni of Hope Street Group, which is a national educational policy group providing teacher voice across our state and advocating for what's best for students and teachers and different things like that. So yeah, those are just some of the cool things that pump me up each day.
We don't get too much deep sea fishing here in the Midwest, so let me ask you a little bit about your educational path then. So what did that look like, both through schools and even outside of schools? What is your educational path looking that way?
Yeah, so I grew up on Kauai, and so born and raised. That's the most northern island here in Hawaii, and that was here in Hawaii. As what it's like, it's definitely rooted in relationships and family, and I was blessed to be not only my immediate family but also just those around me. My educational experience is a little bit different. My parents chose to homeschool me a number of years, and so I was brought up at home, and I think primarily that was just I think the first and quality education comes at home, and so they wanted to give me that, and then also my dad traveled a lot, so it allowed me to go with him on trips a little bit easier. It was also nice looking back too, because finish my work, hit the beach, do some extracurricular things with my friends. So that was a good part of life. And my parents decided to make a big move to the mainland, and we moved to Washington State, Bellingham, Washington to be exact. And we actually they decided to send me to a private school in Canada, and so I commuted over the border every day.
Wow.
And so I got some Canadian education for high school, right? So did that, and then transitioned to Wallowa University, where I studied business. And I kind of always knew that I wanted to get into business. And I think when you talk about a big part of my education, informally, it was mentorship. Mentorship, I think, is super, super pivotal. And was pivotal, for myself, and something that I really value for my students. And so my dad always exposed me to people that were going places, and he he always taught me the power of association. You can always tell someone by who they hang out with in the first 5 minutes, and so that was very important to me. And so did that, and I also had a unique opportunity between my sophomore and junior year. I got to take a year off, and I taught in the Marshall Islands in Ibai, which is a mile long by mile wide island, and 20,000 people. So it was crazy. It was one of my all-time favorite experiences in life. It really just grounded me again in that focus of relationships and how we can be so happy with so little. I would just remember, you could walk, any time of the day, sit on the sidewalk, and kids would just be playing their ukulele and singing and just having fun. Or you could take a piece of plywood and just be surfing on it and just smiling. And I think it really grounded me moving forward as a professional and just like what's important. And so I continued through that and had the opportunity of joining. I'm a Teach for America teacher. Mm-hmm. So, at my senior year, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And so for 30 days in January, I decided, I'm going to apply to 30 different jobs, and just commit every day to just applying to different things and just put myself out there. I think sometimes we worry today and tomorrow will come. I mean, if we do the work today, you'll have no problem walking through any door tomorrow. And so, I just started applying different things, and my buddy said, hey, you should check out Teach for America. And I said, you know what, why not? And when I saw that they had Hawaii as a placement, mm-hmm. I was like, absolutely, could be a way for me to just get back to my community and home. And so I applied and advocated that if I could be placed in Hawaii. And I got that acceptance letter, I think in the spring, nice. And decided to take it. And the rest is history. Been at my same school, same island, loving it. And no regrets for sure.
It seems like, you have so many different levels of education in different areas, different islands, different countries, Canada and those things. So with that being said, I feel like you have a really good grasp on a lot of different lenses in education. If there would be a couple of things or one thing that you would change about the system that we have here or that you're working in now, what would that change be?
Yeah, I think to build upon your point, I'm really driven by mindsets. And I think a lot of times, just a simple idea that we're stronger together and that some of our best and most effective solutions come from right inside the room and the people that are here. And so to put that all together within education, I think if we all can just be reflective and understand who we're working with, what are the strengths, asset-based thinking, and really, really solve problems that way. I think a lot of these big, hairy problems that we talk about, they don't unreachable. And I think that's super important because, we tell our kids, you can do anything, right? But it's funny because as educators, you're in the coffee room or whatever, and then it's always just this complaining about this and that. And I think I tell my students, you can create barriers, you can break them down, right? And it might not be this straight path. It might take a little bit more work, but it's definitely worth it. And so, just being more asset-based. And so specifically, I would say within our community, I'm proud to work in a state and a system that prides itself in being place-based and operating in that mindset. And I really think that when we ground our students and our whole society and community in where we are, I think, and we all pulling together, I really think that change really makes a difference. It is amazing to me when students present, write for things outside your classroom, for things beyond just me, their level of excellence, their level of investment, their level of fun and happiness, it just goes through the roof. They're psyched about it. And I think it doesn't necessarily have to be in that typical place of presenting to 100 people, right? It could be just sharing it on social media and getting 2 comments, or even just sharing more with their parents, and really have this open door and of inviting people and letting them see what these kids can do, because at the end of the day, they are our future. Even regardless of where technology is, there's those fundamental principles of just like what we call, I guess, soft skills of human beings that just don't change. And I think we have to focus in more on that as far as preparing and making sure that this system works for kids.
So the newly named Hawaii Teacher of the Year, congratulations. What's next for you?
Yeah, I was super surprised. When my principal nominated me, I'm not one for self-accolades. I don't do this work like so many educators for the awards. And, I really wrestled back and forth. And a good friend of mine, Dale Yokoyama, she's been pivotal for me in just like my growth as a teacher and just love for what I do. She's like, no, you have to do this. You should consider it. And so I reflected and I thought, this is a good opportunity, not just for myself, but more importantly for honoring the work of my students and my community. And so when I was surprised and got the award in the paper, they got this like shock look. I've been really thinking about it since it happened the last few weeks. And just, I think it's about me deepening my work and the responsibility I have for advocating for students and really elevating what it means to be an educator and celebrate the good things and the impact that educators have and the work that students can do. And I really think that having this new role in this platform, I really want to be strategic in thinking about how I can really elevate others and really show what Hawaii is all about, and that it can lead in education, and it comes from, again, grounding you in place and where you are, and I hope to be a model for that, for most importantly my students, and that level of excellence, but just people around in any other profession, right? And just like this idea of like chasing your best self. I think that's super important. If you look around on who's better than you, you're going to get passed every time. But if you just focus, and look at the mirror every day, be like, how am I bettering, this world that I'm in, making a difference? I think we can all go to sleep feeling good about ourselves. So yeah, I specifically, I'm not exactly sure, I guess, but those are just kind of my broad ideas. It's going to be a lot of reflection.
Matthew, thank you so much for being here with us today on Disrupt Education, a true disruptor of basically the Hawaiian Islands and more now. So, because you're going to be, you travel a lot and everything. So we'll keep our eye on you. Where can people find you online?
You can find me at MatthewWilliams.com. I'm working on that site, as well as you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. So yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you for being here, Matthew. Appreciate it. Until next time, guys, keep disrupting.